Yeah, hello, and welcome to today's live. It's been a while since we had the School of Poetry. This is not really advertised as a School of Poetry, but then it's just another live session. Okay, so who is in there? Who is there with me? All right. So from time to time, I hear people ask the. So is there a particular archery that has that chicks that don't die or those chicks that don't die? Is there something in particular that that archery is doing right, or are there distributors, vendors that once they supply you the chicks don't die? Is it a factor of place or the source of the chicks? So we're going to be addressing all that this evening. So, wish there, welcome, Joseph, Mr. Daniel, welcome. Good to see you all here again. It's been a while. All right. So, don't mind my dog. So, when a customer calls and they're like, DIY, please, we need chicks that don't die. Let me be sure that you guys are hearing me. Can you hear me clearly, please? Before we go deep into the discussion, can you hear me? If you can hear me, just say yes, yes, yes. Let me see your hands. All right. So please, okay, good. Thank you. So when they call and they say we need chicks that don't die, so I'm like, it's a tough one actually for anyone who supplies the old chicks. And in case you're just joining this channel, this is DIY Agric, your number one animal scientist, and your poultry success partner. So we do everything around poultry. Yeah, we are focused solely on poultry. Even though I'm an animal scientist, I can actually go into other areas of livestock farming, but I've decided to choose poultry for a reason. So when people come to you, or when people come to me and they say they want chicks that don't die, here is what I tell them, because it's tough. It's tough. It's a tight corner. Okay, if I give you chicks, even from the best archery in the world, maybe not even in Nigeria, if I import chicks, mortality is a thing. It's just a factor of the measure of how much or the percentage of deaths, how much of the chicks do you lose, and when do you lose them. I think that's just the basic thing. But to say chicks that don't die, I don't think they exist anywhere. But yes, there's a probability or there's a chance that you bring chicks from one part of Nigeria all the way, maybe they travel about 700 kilometers, even 1,000 kilometers, and out of 1,000 chicks, you lose just one. That's a good one. That's thumbs up to the driver, to the chicks, the hatchery. Everything is just perfect. And that's what you should expect, actually. And there are cases when even before the chicks are sent to you, there's a lot of deaths. Maybe out of 1,000, there are like seven deaths. And in transit, by the time they get to you, you are recording like 13 deaths. That's beginning to be scary. So that's when you need to start to um fear. That's when fear comes in. So I'm going to be highlighting some things that you need to know so that you'll be having the barest minimum mortality, even if deaths are just normal. So when you open a box of chicks and inside the box you see like out of 50 of them, you see about 40 of them are active and about 10 of them are not active. That's a bad one, completely bad, because these chicks are expected to still be okay. We expect that they don't have infections. We expect that they have not really been faced with challenges, heat stress, and all of those things. And yet, We are having 20% down already. I believe 10 out of 50 is 20%. So we have 20% down already. That's a no, no, no. By the time you open your box of day-old chicks, all of them should be trying to jump out, active, and all that. That is what you expect. And if there's anything like chicks that don't die at all, I think that's what it should look like. Even out of 51, if you have one mortality, but the rest look good, it's still explainable. Probably that one was weak by the time it got hatched and it somehow passed the quality check and people couldn't get it. Those who were screening and sorting the birds, they couldn't get it and it fell into the carton and it came to your farm and it died along the way, that's still okay. It's still okay to have one out of 51 that die in transit. But if you have three, five dead in a carton, that's a no no. So quickly, so I don't waste your time. Yeah, welcome, Hike. Welcome, Esther. Okay, so I don't waste your time. Let me quickly talk about some things that you should watch out for if you want the best, if you want the best on your farm, if you want the best chicks on your farm, yeah. So one thing you want to do, because I'm going to be revealing certain secrets to you. One thing you want to do is you want to patronize trusted vendors, distributors. This is not because DIY supplies they will patronize trusted vendors. And even with trusted vendors, you're going to encounter challenges from time to time. And this is where the trust comes in. When you have relationship with a vendor and you believe that to a certain extent you trust them, just stick to them. I think it's cool to just stick to them. Why? Because there are a lot of people who would want to just get your money and give you anything out there. And in a lot of cases, they will give you maybe lesser price or sweeter deal. They can tell you you pay on delivery. Who does that? Even the very rich or wealthy hatcheries will not offer you pay on delivery. So how come a distributor will offer you pay on delivery? Well, so I don't know what business idea that is, but then they will offer you sweet deals and all of that. They try to make sure that you pay quickly. They don't want you to think twice. They just want you to pay for the cheese. They can tell you it's 100 naira less than what others are giving you. It just comes like this and that. So you need to be wary of all those. So try and work with somebody who you can trust. And finding that might be hard. Finding that might be a tough one for you, but you need to make sure you find that. And if you are lost in that, I can tell you that we are happy to supply you your day-old chicks, whether broilers, layers, turkeys, and all that. So that's like the first thing that you need to do. The vendor, the distributor, ask questions. Why? Because these people have it's beginning to rain. I think I might want to close the window. Okay, these people have database. We have history of customers getting chicks on a weekly basis. I mean bi-weekly. We get twice a week on Mondays and on Thursdays. So we have on my platform now, we have about over 800 farmers who are buying chicks from time to time. Maybe not all of them are buying actively, but at least from time to time, we get people who buy. So we have a database. We have people who got aggregated last market, got Valentine, got Crown, got Zate, got Amo. So you can ask them, how is the performance of Amo this time? How is the performance of Chi this time? How is the performance of Aggregate? Don't just rush to a vendor and just buy based on old knowledge about, oh, they used to say this archery is good. They used to say that archery is good. No, don't rush to a vendor and place booking based on old knowledge. No, that can lead you into deep soup. Why? Because even these hatcheries, they are not 100% consistent with the results that they get. The parent stock, the parent flock that will lay the eggs that are hatched into chicks, sometimes they can have certain challenges, and it might be that time that you are coming back into the business and you're buying your chicks. If you get your chicks based on 4 months ago knowledge of the hatchery, 4 months ago, 6 months ago, 1 year ago, you might be entering into problems. So even the so-called good hatcheries that are performing so well, there are times that they have issues. So if you ask the question from the vendor or distributor before you buy, then they will tell you, okay, I think you're my good customer. I think it will be good for you to take this one this time because I think two customers have reported this and that about this and that. So that is wisdom and loyalty. Because of the loyalty of the vendor or distributor to you, they will tell you, and that's one of the advantages of people who supply birds from a lot of hatcheries. They are not just this distributor of this hatchery alone. Because if they are only distributing for a particular hatchery, of course, they will tell you just buy, they will do well. Most of them will tell you like that. So ask questions. And reason why you might want to ask, why can't my distributor just come out and tell me, no, this hatchery is not good now? Why can't they? They won't tell you, or they shouldn't tell you. Why? Because it's liability on their part too. Take for example, you are supposed to get archery A, and the vendor says, why don't you get archery C? And after 3 months or 3 weeks, let's even say there's nothing wrong with that archery C on other farms, but you encounter challenge or challenges raising that archery C. You come back to the vendor and say, I would have taken my archery A, but you told me to take archery C. So that liability is the reason why a vendor will not tell you anything unless you are the one asking. So they cannot tell you based on the history, based on performance, current performance of this archery, that archery, I think this might be having challenge. Why don't you try this? So you are still left to make the decision, but they will inform you based on data, and you too can use that data to your advantage. So make sure you ask the question. Don't just book blindly. If you have been booking a particular archery, then ask the vendor, is this archery still okay? Then they can tell you, yeah, go ahead, they are still good. So that's another important thing if you want to get the chicks that don't die. All right. So next is that don't be cheap. Yeah, don't be cheap. Don't be cheap. A lot of people have available, but no, that's not the right thing to do if you want to buy or get the chicks that don't die. You don't look for the cheapest. There's a reason why that actually is consistently cheaper than others. No, earlier on my before I joined this live session, people were comparing Cup 500 and Harbour Acre and Ross 308 on my chicks booking platform. And I saw somebody dropping an insight that if you want height, you can get Cup 500. If you want weight, if you're just concerned about which one is going to gain the highest weight possible in the same amount of time, then you probably go for Ross 308. I know that. So that is knowledge. So you should know that a breed of broilers or the hatchery producing a breed of broiler that is more suitable for those who are supplying cold rooms, hotels that are fast putting out birds, their broilers will be more expensive because they will deliver the highest weight in the same amount of time. So they will be more expensive. So if you are looking for weight, you will not look for the cheapest. You are looking for the cheapest on the market. Maybe you are trying to raise broilers that you will raise for 2 months plus, 3 months. Of course, you don't even need to rush. You don't even need that fast weight. at that point. But if your goal is to get the highest weight possible, then of course you want to take advantage of the more expensive, but which will give you a better return on your investment in the last or in the long run. And in most cases, the FCR or some of these arches that are more expensive, that their belts that are more expensive, the FCR is better. The FCR is lower, and the lower the FCR, that's another study anyway. That's another topic entirely. So the lower the FCR, let me. Do I want to stand up? Okay, just let me know if you are hearing me clearly because the rain is getting to me. I want to be sure that you can hear me clearly. Okay, let me just try. Give me a moment, please. Let me just lock the windows. Available. The quality should matter to you. Um, yeah, let's go to the next one now. Yeah, this is also very important. The main thing is we are trying to get chicks that don't die if they exist. So sometimes everything is well with the hatchery, everything is well with the chicks. As a matter of fact, when suppliers, distributors, vendors, whatever you call them, when they get the chicks, they themselves are so happy. They're like, oh, this is my customers will enjoy these chicks. Oh, they are so big. Look at how they're weighing 48 grams at day old, 42, 46. When you have weight over 40 grams, and that's something you should also know, when you have weight over 40 grams, the birds are good. When you have weight under 40 grams, they are not so good. But in many cases, we still have 37, 39. In many cases, we still have that, and they still perform. Most of these birds still perform. But by the time you start to have 32, 34, not so good. So in most cases now, when the parent stock that are producing the eggs, when they are mature and they have been laying for a while, in most cases you'll be getting over 40 grams of the old chicks that hatch. So when the vendors see all this, they are happy. And at the point they give it to the driver, everything is fine. Trust me. But from the moment the driver collects it and transports it, there might be problem. So that's why you need to hope, not just hope, you pray for a favorable transportation experience. And if you are not too far from the supply point and you can send your vehicle, if the number of birds you are taking justifies the expenses and the trouble of the road, just come and pick them by yourself. And if you can hire a private vehicle to deliver to you, do that. All those things are worth it once your volume is big enough. Okay, so one of the reasons why this happen is some of these drivers get greedy. They tend to overstock. By the time they overload the vehicle, they load it inside every corner of the vehicle. Some of them even put it on top. Even during the rain, they put it on top and then they put a canopy on top. All manner of things that they do, and only God will help us. We are in Nigeria. So you need to hope and pray for favorable transportation experience, because in the course of transporting them, imagine those ones that they load on the vehicle, the level of draft, the wind that will blow, especially the ones that are in front, the rate at which the breeze will blow them. Some of these chicks, that's why by the time they get to your farm and you put them on the floor, they first of all tumble and they stagger. the level of wind that has entered into their hair has caused a problem. And some of them will also come down with pneumonia on your farm. So you just want to hope and pray for a favorable transposition experience. That will ensure that what you ordered for is what is getting to you. And this can be so critical. Sometimes some of the customers will think, okay, is the vendor that sent you the a very poor and weak uh, batch of chicks. Sometimes it's not so. Our road situation is also a culprit at times. Some of these drivers, they get stuck on a point for minutes and in some cases even hours. Some of them that are so wise, by the time they see this thing is getting prolonged, they will offload the chicks and put them in a cool area. If they keep them in a vehicle, even if there's no sun out, if they keep them in a vehicle, those chicks generate a lot of heat, and before you know it, some of them will get weak, some of them will be dying, the heat stress will be affecting them because it generates so much heat inside the carton. That's why it's good that the vehicle is always moving, as long as it's not a vehicle with air condition. All right. So hope and pray for favorable transportation experience. And then the next one, you have to receive your chicks into a safe environment. A lot of customers, a lot of farmers, poultry farmers, they are not ready for the chicks. I said that in the video I posted. I think I scheduled the video for this morning. A lot of farmers receive their birds when they are not ready. I don't know why they are in haste to receive the birds when they are not fully ready to receive them. So make sure that the place has been disinfected. If you have raised a batch of chicks in that spot, make sure it's well cleaned. In fact, you can even leave it for a week before stocking or even more. And then make sure you disinfect it properly. Make sure you do everything right and prepare the place for the new floor. Buy all the necessary supplies, the disinfectant you want to use for your food dip, test the scale, test the gas brooder, all of the things that you'll be using. Make sure that they are in working condition. And that way, we'll say you are receiving the birds. These birds have poor immunity. Their immunity is not developed. So when it comes to an environment that is not safe, it means there's so much threat for them. There's so much war, battle that they get to face when they are not even prepared to fight. So before you know it, they get overwhelmed with the bacterial load, with the viral load. And some of you don't understand yet, especially for broilers now, even layers. But for broilers that we are really concerned about the weight, some of you don't get it yet that the first few hours, the first few days are the most critical time in the life of your chicks. If you don't do what you're supposed to do in the first few hours and the first few days, you can lose. You may not lose the birds, they may not die, but you lose some results that you can get during that time. The earlier they get the crop field, the earlier they even get to your farm to start eating, the better for you. So if your birds arrive and you keep them in the carton for another 4 hours, you are cheating yourself already. Let them get to your farm early. Let them start eating and converting the feed as early as possible. That way, they get to develop their immunity real quick, and before the danger start to come, before the breeze start to blow some pathogens into the pen, they have already started to develop their immunity and everything is fine, so they can combat the regular um, bacteria that can come in from God knows. So it's important that they start to heat quickly, you settle them in, and make sure that the environment is safe, it is clean for them. And then we move on to the next one quickly. I don't want to waste your time because I'll be glad to take questions. So if you have some questions, please prepare them. I'll be glad to take some questions. Then stockmanship. Are you a good person on the farm? Are you a good farmer? How is your skill on the farm as a poultry farmer? Do you know how to do you have highs for the chickens? Do you know when they are falling sick? or you are just there until you start to lose them before you know that something is wrong among the flock. So this is also important. Are you the type that will take the weight at week one, or weight on arrival, week at week one, weight at week two, and then you'll be able to know, you check it with the standard, with your expectation, and you say, okay, we are doing well, we are not doing well. Or are you the type that you wait on the 5 weeks, and after 5 weeks you're like, it's like this batch is not so good though. What were you doing at the first week? What were you doing at the second week? A lot of times when some customers call me or they send me messages and they say this batch did not do well, I'm like, are you just knowing? Because if you have been following me, if you have been watching my videos, you see I always emphasize on the use of digital scale, the use of your digital thermometer. So if you have your digital scale and they come on day one, you take the weight, you see that the average weight is 42 grams, you record that. At seventh day, you check the weight, you see the average weight is 160, you know that you are behind already. Because at week one, you expect them to be around 190 grams to 200 and something. So if you're having 160, you should know you are behind. So at week two, we expect them to be maybe around 500 grams, even 600 grams in some cases, and more than that. So if you are now getting 510, you should know that, okay, yeah, they are now getting to the mark. They are now doing well, or they are now meeting up with the target. But if at week two again you are still having 350, you know that you are in soup. By that time, you should be trying all possible best to make them improve. But you wait until 5 weeks, you're now calling somebody and say, these birds, the batch is not good though, they are not doing well. No. You are in checking the result. And let me also mention this before I start to take questions. Sometimes it's good that farmers know this. If your birds have challenges, or they are dying a lot, or you see that they are looking sick within the first 3 days after arrival, it is possible to trace it to the hatchery. You can say, it's hatchery problem, hatching error, maybe the process of incubation was not so good, or there's an infection from the hatchery, is okay. Up to even the seventh day, the first 7 day, you can still trace all that to the hatchery. But if the birds were doing excellently well at week one, from day one to day seven, they were good. Day eight, day nine till slaughter. Anything that happens is not as a result of the hatchery problem. Trust me. That's another important thing that you need to know. After 7 day, or after day seven, you start to see challenges. Maybe at day 12, week three, some of you will say, the birds have stopped eating. They were doing everything fine before. But this batch at week three, they just stopped eating. No, you can't trace that to the hatchery. It should be a problem on your farm, and you focus on it. If you don't look at the hatchery, if you are not thinking it's from the hatchery because you are informed, then it will help you, to guide you, be able to narrow it down your thoughts. You'll be able to try and check, what am I doing wrong? What could be wrong with these birds? What are we not getting right? Is it the feed? Is it the management? But if you're always thinking it's your distributor, it's your supplier, it's the hatchery, they gave me bad chicks, you won't know what to do. You'll be confused. And with that, those kind of farmers run from one supplier to another, from one hatchery to another, from one breed to another. I tell you, good farmers will do well with almost any good or reputable hatchery. They will do well with Amo, they will do well with I don't even want to mention names. They will do well with almost any standard hatchery. I'm not talking about the backyard hatcheries that will not even give Marex vaccine, that will not give anything, that just, they just have some. 100 birds somewhere breeding, and they just get the eggs and the hatch. I'm not talking about those ones, whether they do right or not or wrong. I don't want to care. I'm talking about well-established hatcheries. A good farmer under normal circumstances will do well with all these chicks. So people who are not serious and who are not checking, they're not looking inwards, they're not trying to find out where they are wrong, they will move from this Aboeka, they will move to Ross, they will move to Cobb, and yet they will still not find anyone that will suit them, because the problem has always been from their farm, but they never agreed. So make sure that you have good, or you practice good stockmanship on the farm. And if you're able to do all these things, you patronize trusted vendors. It takes time to create relationship with your vendor. You study them from time to time. When you trust them, just stick to them. Then ask questions about the archery you are trying to get, the chicks you are trying to get. If the archery is still doing well, don't just rely on old knowledge. Then you don't be cheap. Don't always go for the cheapest. There are times that the cheap is good for you, but be don't let the cheaper price be the one that will decide for you what to choose. And then you hope for favorable transportation experience, because transportation is key. Even when everything is right, if transportation is wrong, if it's done wrong, then, or if things go wrong during transportation, things can go wrong on your farm. The chicks may not arrive in the best condition that you want. Then you also try to receive your chicks into a safe environment. Make sure you are ready, fully ready for them. You have all the supplies you need. You create time to disinfect, time to allow the farm to rest after a couple of batches. All those things are critical. And I believe if you're a poultry farmer already, you should know most of these things about how to make sure the place is safe. If you are just learning the, if you are just on the journey, you are just learning, then make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're yet to do so. That way, you would have access to a lot of videos that will educate you, and before you know it, you'll be a better poultry farmer. And also, stockmanship, have eyes for the chicken, know when, just be able to give them quality welfare. Make sure you give them feed when they need it, lighting, all those things that you also get to learn more and more on this channel if you are a subscriber. All right, so let me quickly take some questions before we close for the to discuss with you guys live. It's really good. All right. So questions or everyone here, it's only the pros that are joining this evening. Nobody is asking questions. Is that what it means? I need questions quickly. Questions. Okay, why the questions come? Let me just say this. So this is actually the process because some people don't understand the process of also getting their day-old chicks. This is the process. For one, we we can be your trusted supplier, trusted distributor for a lot of arteries, and if you show interest, we'll be able to put you in the chicks booking platform. So this is the process. As a poultry farmer, you can buy from the hatcheries directly. Yes, you can decide to open an account with the hatcheries and you buy directly. You don't have any middleman come and take your 1 naira, 2 naira. You just buy directly from the hatchery. It's possible, but then your volume has to be up to their minimum requirements. And in most cases, you need to get at least 1,000 or 2,000. Now, I think it was 1,000. Some of them are now pegging it at 2,000. So if you have that capacity, then you just try to register with them and you can be placing your orders directly. In some cases, if you don't have an existing account or you have not been running the account with the archery, when there is scarcity like we had in the past few weeks, the archeries will not even listen to you. Yeah. So they will answer those who are consistent buyers first. And in that case, even when you have your account with the archery, the account is as good as useless. You have to still work with the distributors or vendors. So, and what is different from buying from the hatchery is actually working with the vendors. So they have accounts like we have accounts with different hatcheries. We can get from hatchery A, hatchery B, hatchery C, based on the request that we have to, or based on our projections. We get maybe 10,000 from this one, 15,000 from this one. In some cases, some hatcheries that people don't patronize that much or their volume is not even much. Even as a distributor, we can get just 5,000 from them or even 3,000 and just distribute to smallholder farmers who are taking 150, 120, I mean 150, 300 and like that. So it works that way. So a lot of smallholder farmers have to go through the distributors, the vendors, whatever you call them. And it becomes a challenge finding who is going to represent me. If they were dealing with the hatchery has a name to protect. A lot of people don't care. A lot of distributors or not distributor now, a lot of vendors don't, they're not really protecting anything. A lot of them just wants to make money. So it's a tough game for the farmer choosing who to supply them. All right. So that's why we need to be careful when you are dealing with your distributor. Just make sure that they are traceable, they have a name to protect, and then you study the pattern of your conversation with them. If there are people who are always after your money, they just want you to pay no, 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 then you should be careful. All right. So, and then if you buy from them, in most cases, depending on your location, like we now, we would the process is you send payment. We have a booking platform. Once you are qualified, because of those who will get on a group and start to post all manner of things, we try to reduce the number of persons that get on the group. We make sure that they are serious buyers. We study their intent, even if they have not bought, but they have been consistent at asking. Maybe we failed to follow up with them. So once we see their seriousness, we add them to the platform so they don't miss out on the price updates. So once you make payments when the price is out, the supply days are Mondays and Thursdays. So usually we'll release the price on Sunday and Wednesday. Today now the price has been released. Only one archery is left to be added to the list. So once you are seeing the price, you make payments. Some people are paid today already, so the chicks will be supplied tomorrow morning. That is Monday morning. They'll be given to drivers in the evening actually, because the drivers would not be able to manage them, put them in a safe zone before they move them, and they won't move them in the hot sun. So they would wait until evening. We'll give them in the evening, and then they start to move. Those who are close to Ibadan, we are in Ibadan. So those who are close to Ibadan will get theirs. They can get it the same days. Most people in Lagos, some in Oyo, Ile-Ife, still Osun State, they get it same day. But most people who are far away, Port Harcourt, Aba, Enugu, Calabar, the North, and the likes, they get it the next day. Some of them get it very early in the morning, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., Abuja, 6, 7, some in some cases 12. Calabar can get it in the evening or late afternoon. So it depends on your location. So that's how it works. So usually on that supply day in the evening, the driver's number will be shared to you privately, not on the group, privately, so that you can reach out to the driver and find out where you meet them. You also track them to see whether they have arrived or not. So that's the process. And once you get it, you let us know, and we're happy to share your story. If you're happy to share your video when you place them, their performance, their weight on arrival, their performance at week 1, week 2. If you're happy to share all those things, we welcome them on our platform because it will help to also inform. This is part of where the data is important. It will help to inform other people that want to book. They'll know, okay, this person booked at Rehe and performance at week 1 is this. So that feedback system helps. And that's one thing we are really lacking in Nigeria. I think people are coming up, but it's not really at the place it should be. That's the review system. When the customer gets this thing and they are able to share their feedback, it helps others who want to get it. So if we are always doing that, we'll see that even any hatchery that is not performing well, because of the information that is flying around, they will be on their toes trying to make sure that things get back into the right place so that that information can go around again and everyone will say they are now doing well. So all those things we welcome on our platform. I'm seeing a question here that I would like to take. Okay, can we use organic means to avoid the vaccines altogether? Thanks. So some people have seen vaccines to be problems, like use this and that, they still die and all that. So if you are practicing organic poultry farming and you have been well schooled, you know what to do part time, you understand the herbs and spices, you know when to adopt this method and all that. Of course, you can do without vaccines. I've done it for broilers, I've done it for layers. We have organic poultry course, video course for both broilers and layers put together. So I can tell you from a place of expertise, experience, that you can actually raise broilers and layers without vaccines. However, even if you choose to use vaccines, it's still okay. What the thing that is really wrong there, that is bad, is the antibiotics. The main thing that we need to war against is the antibiotics. The vaccines, in some cases, if your environment is endemic to certain diseases or you have history of certain diseases on your farm, I think even I would advise you that you vaccinate. But if your farm is clean, you don't have history of recurrent cases of Newcastle, Gumboro, the likes of Coryza for layers, especially. If you don't have such history, of course, you can do your farming without even the vaccines. And I've seen, as a body consultant, I've seen things when we talk about vaccines. Recently, somebody sent me a clip, was it a picture or a video? The vaccine inside water did not dissolve. Well, I stand to be corrected. Maybe I've not seen that. Maybe it's something new. I don't think I've seen such. The vaccine did not dissolve, and the person went back to the vet store where they bought it. I'm not sure if it's a vet who attended, and the person who attended told the farmer, "Yeah, go and use it. It's okay. It's okay." Something that did not dissolve. How can a vaccine not dissolve? I'm yet to see such vaccine Maybe I'm the one that is behind. I'm not abreast of the latest trends in poultry. I don't know. I stand to be corrected. But I don't think that is normal. And to you, you might be asking this same question. Can't I just do without this vaccine for God's sake? And there are other problems, even apart from the vaccine not dissolving. There are other problems. They are not sure of the integrity of the vaccine, whether it has been maintained, the cold chain has been maintained. They don't know whether they didn't have light for 2 days, and when light came, they just turn on the freezer again, and they just started selling the vaccines. You know, so it can be crazy. It can be crazy. So let's take another question. But again, to answer that in simple terms, you can do without vaccines. Okay. You wish to know the price, Mr. Benjamin. Yeah, this is my good friend. I wish to know the price of that good and durable scale. Okay. Well, because this is a video, this video is going to be posted, and people will see it even after 3 months, after 1 year. I don't know. I don't think I want to remove it. So I think I will be answering you in private for this, because the price will not remain the same next week, and somebody else will be watching the video. I've seen cases where people will chat me up. They say they watched the video. I said I was doing a promo. I was doing a course for 5,000 naira, and maybe the course is 30,000 naira now, and they will tell me I should do it for that 5K. So to avoid that, I'm not going to tell you the price, but I will tell you that there is a durable scale, and you can also get infrared gas brooder. So please send me a WhatsApp message on any of those numbers that I posted earlier. Yeah, any of these numbers, send us a WhatsApp message and we'll answer you. All right. So I'll take a few more questions. I think we'll be ending this live session soon. Okay, so I'm seeing this question from Leonard. Please, I want to brew 10,000. I want to brew 1,000 chicks. What space do I start with? My brooder is not so good with meters. I'm a fan of feet. I'm a fan of feet, so I have to start doing conversion. I don't know why I didn't try to get used to meters, but I'm good with what do they call it, feet. So if you can send me a message on WhatsApp on that number, I'll help you break it down, because if it were if it were if I had planned to do something like this, I would have done some templates here that I can just put on the screen for you to see. But usually, to brood them alone, you'll be needing up to about 30 by 20 space. That's in feet now. You need at least about 20 by 30 space to start them, and then you start expanding. But don't worry, just send me a WhatsApp message. I'll be able to break it down for you, the entire space that you need for whatever age you want them to get to, space that you need for them. I'll let you know. For 1,000 birds, let me do a rough calculation for you now. For 1,000 birds, if you if you are raising them for just table size, that's the 5 weeks, 6 weeks, that's 2 point about maybe about 2.5 to 2 point, let's say 2.5 kg. You need about, in my own calculation, you need about 1,400 square feet, and if your house is 30, let's say 30 feet wide, 1,000 is not even too much. But let's say if your house is 30 feet wide, you need at least 50 by 30. Around 50 by 30 is a good space. So if you have more than that, that means you will not even use the entire space. So just let me know so that I can convert the meters to feet and then give you the perfect answer for that. All right. So the next one, is there any other question? Yeah. Okay, if you say what you're asking, if what's happening if you're losing birds, 3 to 4 days old broilers, they just die without any sign. I don't think they die without a sign. Maybe the sign is going unnoticed. So in most cases, it is heat stress. If it is without the sign, as you say, it can be heat stress. Some farmers can leave their pen for 6 hours and they think that's right during the day. So in some cases during that time, 3 to 4 days, yeah, this thing is also critical. I've observed that a lot of farmers, we are used to, or all we know is that when you are brooding, cover the place, cover the place. Even in this hot climate that we are, and a lot of people do that without having thermometer to even check what the temperature actually is. So in this hot climate, I found that within 3 day, between day 3 and 4, you would need to open a part of the brooder, especially if it's not raining season or it's not even raining season. There are times that the weather is so hot. Today now, the afternoon was so hot. I went to wash my car, and as they will pour water on the car, the water will dry up. So it was so hot in the afternoon, and now it's raining. So if the weather is hot, as is normally hot, by day 3 or day 4, you will need to open a part. Even sometimes day 2, you open a part of the brooder just for the hot air to escape. So what happens in most cases is, of course, you will say nothing is wrong with the chicks, but by the time they are so hot and it's going unnoticed, you are not available. Maybe you went out, you think, okay, in the morning you settle them, everywhere is good, they are active, so you are not even concerned, and you leave. By the time you come back, they will die. You just see a few of them, and you notice the way they die, the leg will be stretching towards the back, the neck will be stretching and laid on the litter. So it's most likely heat stress. If it's not an infection, if it's an infection, you should notice that through the poop, their vents could get stained with milky, pasty butt and all that. So you might just want to look critically and check very well if it's not heat stress. All right. So this person, coccidiosis is a bastard. So it's a very terrible disease. It's there are about 9 strains of the organism that causes coccidiosis. So in some cases, a particular medication, for example, some of these medications will have amprolium as the active ingredient. Others can have totrazuril as the active ingredient. There's biazuril. There's another one. So some of these medications attack, out of these 9, some of them attack 3 so well, some of them attack 5. So what I would say is, and in most cases, farmers don't get to go and test the birds to see which organism is actually there. Even some of our laboratories are not as equipped to be able to determine and tell you, okay, this is the organism, this is the particular strain of the organism that is affecting the birds, that is causing the coccidiosis. So because of that, the best medication is the one that works. So if you try the one that has amprolium, this is it. You have to have knowledge of that active ingredient. If you have tried the one that has amprolium as active ingredient, and it's not working, or it feels like they are not getting better, if you want to switch, make sure the next one you are using is not having the same amprolium. So make sure you are switching to maybe the one that has totrazuril, biazuril, declazuril, or what they call it. So that's what I would tell you. Then for organic, maybe you attend my organic poultry course. One thing I can tell you is that bitter leaf juice works well. And if you have the bitter leaf, you air dry it, you blend it, and you add it to their feed. So you give that means it's part of their diet. It also helps to keep coccidiosis at bay. So you may not even have to treat coccidiosis if you have tried to embed it into their diet. So instead of giving it at a treatment dose, you already have it inside their diet as prophylaxis. So that's all I'll say about that for now. So somebody is asking, what's your minimum if I want to get the old chicks? Yeah, it's actually 50. 50. In on rare occasions, we are able to supply 25, but that means you must have somebody to pair with. The person would also pay almost at the same time with you. You guys will make arrangements. It happens on the platform, so you can take advantage of the platform for that. But the standard minimum is one carton. That's 50 birds. It comes with one extra, but we don't talk about the one extra because we don't put it in the price. So 50 birds, that one, if you place order, is certain. But if you place order for 25, it's a 50-50 chance. You may get it, you may not get it. If you don't get it, we can refund your money, or you wait until you are able to get. So if you are not ready to wait, just place order for one carton minimum. And what's the maximum? Nobody hacks that. The maximum number is uncountable. All right. So I'm trying to look for how many feet of wooden cage can house. This person is asking how many feet of wooden cage can house 50 broilers. Wooden cage. If your wooden cage is not protected for with another shelter on top of it, I don't really advise wooden cage for broilers, especially broilers that you want to grow fast. I know it's a good place to start, because of the capital required to start or building the shed. But why start when you are going to lose most of your bets? Or why start when you are not going to be getting the results that you want? Because if your birds are growing well, if they are growing at the rate that you love, maybe you are getting 1.9 kg at 4 weeks, 2.2 kg in some cases, or let's say 1.9 kg, 1.8 kg at 4 weeks, that means the brothers are going well. At that stage, they will start dying inside your cage if you are not careful. So most times, to even excel at raising them inside cages, you have to understock. So they have to look scanty inside that cage, and then the hot season is not really good. Once your cage is outside, except it's in a cozy place, maybe under a leaf, it's really cool there, day in, day out. Yeah, you can do cages. And in that case, if the weather is so cool, in a 6 by 4 cage, you can even have. It depends on your target weight also. Your target weight matters because at if your target weight is about 2.5 kg or so, you can have up to a dozen of birds doing very well in a 6 by 4 space. So it will depend on those factors, but I don't really encourage cage if you can do without it. Those who can do cage successfully must have it inside a pen. So there's a shelter that is taking the heat. And inside that, some even those who do that, in some cases, they have to introduce a fogger and then sprinkle water on their body in the hot weather. It's because they don't want them to die. How much more somebody who has a cage outside exposed to the sun, especially if they have them in tiers. The ones at the top will just be dying like, I don't want to say like chicken. All right. Oil is already saying that's exactly what's happening to this person now. 3 to 4 days now. Yeah, of course. It is usually what is causing it. So brooding does not have to mean that you have to close everywhere all through their first week. Some people, when they call me and they are planning to start a 3,000 capacity broiler house, they are telling me that shey they will brood for 2 weeks, they will heat the house for 2 weeks. I'm like, who? In Nigeria? In most cases, after 4 days, I don't even use it. If I want to use it, maybe in the night, and even in the night, it's usually lower than normal because at that time they are already growing feathers, they are eating a lot, they are generating a lot of heat by themselves. So if you can give them lighting, that's the place is well lit at night, and you give them food at night, in most cases, except the weather is extremely cold, in most cases you don't even need to give them supplemental heat after 4 days. But let's say you are doing that by day 7, in most cases you don't need that extra um warmth again. But again, even within Nigeria, we still have zones. So we have places like Jos that can be extremely cold. So you need to pay attention to the birds. You need to understand what brooding entails. But what we are trying to say is that don't just say, oh, brooding is 2 weeks, I have to close the house. When they need a little bit of extra ventilation, provide it. Use your thermometer to check if the temperature is going out of range, and that would save you a lot. Okay, so I'd like to take one or two more before we go. Okay, so this person is saying, can I use sawdust, smooth sawdust as wood, as my wood shavings? Well, you can't use one as another. Just say, can you use it for brooding? I would advise, even when you're using wood shavings, that's the wood chips, the big ones. Even when you're using that, for me, what I do is, if I get it from a place where I've noticed there's some level of dust in there, I try to sieve it out. For brooding purpose, I sieve that one I'm going to use for brooding. Because at that tender age, they tend to pick almost anything that they see. They pick a lot of things that they see, and that can hurt your um, and that might be dangerous. It might cause crop impaction where they have a lot of wood shavings or with sawdust in their crop, and they are not able to digest it, and they will die. That is what I do, and because of that, I don't use paper for brooding. I don't like to see the mess. I don't like to see the poop. Even though I'm a chicken person, I don't like to see the poop on paper. I have to go there. Sometimes I don't like to walk with slippers or a shoe inside the brooding place. So especially when they're so tender, they are just following you. They are just going, following your legs, and you have a good number of them, maybe 10,000 birds, 6,000 birds. Be careful, and you want to be all sensitive. So exposing your bare foot to the floor makes you extra sensitive. So even when you're about to step on one of them, you can just stop that foot from landing. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And because of that, I hate paper on the floor. It's better to have the wood shavings. Just make sure it's the big chunk, the wood chips that are there, not sawdust. So if you're going to use sawdust at all, make sure the birds are over 2 weeks old. Once they're over 2 weeks, they can differentiate. They already know their feed. They already enjoy their feed. Even if they eat the dust, they won't eat so much of it. It's turkeys that can get so naughty and eat a lot of dust. But those ones too, once they are grown, they can digest it, they can push it out through their uh, waste. All right. So don't use it so early in brooding. Use it when they are about 2 weeks. You can do that. Okay. What else? What else? What else? What else? And so, if you are yet to subscribe to the channel, this is DIY Hagrid, your number one animal scientist and your poultry success partner. So I don't know what you're waiting for. On the channel, there's a lot. There's a lot. As a matter of fact, is now I'm trying to do even a lot more content. But if you look at the content I've made for years, I mean 3 years or thereabout now, if you sit down on those contents alone, you'll be a pro broiler farmer, you'll be a pro layer farmer, you'll be a pro poultry farmer in general. So, and even now, there's a lot more that we are putting out. So it will do you a lot good if you are subscribed to that channel. Hit on that subscribe button and then give us a thumbs up because I'm sure you are enjoying the content. And then hit that notification bell. That notification bell will help you so that when we put out new content, you'll be notified. Just be the first to watch the video, first to watch the next video. So I'll take one more question, and I'm looking for that question. Okay, somebody's asking for a link to order. Okay, what you just do is the number on the screen, save the numbers, save the numbers on the screen, and reach out to us on WhatsApp. So we'll be able to put you on the Chicks booking platform. Reach out to us on WhatsApp. We'll put you on the platform. Please, you can just take a screenshot of this screen now. Take a screenshot, whether it's on your phone or your laptop. Take a screenshot so that the number does not go away before you do that. All right, so I want to take one more question. I want to believe that you've taken the screenshots. Those are the two numbers there. Yeah. All right. So rice dust too is good. Is good. Is it rice dust now or husk? Yeah, it's good. That works too. That works too. The thing with the bedding material, the litter material is their rate of absorption. So we have found the wood chips, especially if it's dry, it's very dry. We have found it to really absorb a lot of moisture, so it makes the place dry. There are places I've seen. There was a project I did in Port Harcourt. I think it was last year. I think last year, ending of last year. Mhm. Last year, the farmer was able to maintain the same litter all through the period of raising the birds, and we started, I think September ending, if I'm correct. I'm not exactly sure of the date, but we started early because the bears were so big at December. So he used it for over 2 months. He used the same litter material. The only thing he does is once he notices that around a drinker, the place is wet, he just pack it and replace that part. But he never changed the whole litter during the course of raising the birds. So you can also do. How many weeks will it take pullets to start eating normal after the beaking? The beaking is very stressful experience for the birds. You get to cut their beak to prevent cannibalism. They like to peck a lot of things, and they will also be pecking their fellow chicks. It also prevents egg eating and all that. So it's a necessary evil. That's what I call it, a necessary evil. You are hurting the birds in a way, but it's also good for the business. So you try to do it as humanely as possible, as painless as possible. It's not going to be entirely painless, but as painless as possible. So if you do that, if you have done it well, the birds will start eating within 2 days. As a matter of fact, the next day they are supposed to be eating very well. But if they are not eating well, within 2 days, within 48 hours, they should start eating well. So it's not a matter of weeks, it's a matter of days. Because if you do it well, you're supposed to cauterize, seal the part of the beak that you cut. And that's why the beaking machine is important. There's this hot metal that goes up and down, and okay, the blade goes, yeah, the hot metal goes up and down. You put their beak inside the hole, it cuts the beak, it cauterizes it, seals the tip of it, so they don't have to bleed so much. In many cases, they won't even bleed at all if you seal it well. So if you have done it that way, there's less pain. The pain is not really prolonged like that. There's less pain, and a lot of them even start to eat crazily immediately after you debug. So if it is done well within 24 hours, they will not go without food at all. They will eat less that same day, but it's not like they won't eat at all. They will eat less, and the following day they are expected to be eating maybe like 75 to 80% of their normal consumption, and the third day they should be back. They should be back fully. All right. So thank you all for joining, and I hope that you've been able to learn um, how to ensure that you raise birds that don't die. Yeah. Maybe what we want to do, the purpose now or the focus now is to raise birds that will not die, not to just get birds that don't die. Yeah. So I hope you've been able to take the point, and I wish you successful poultry farming. All right. So these are the numbers on the screen. Those are our WhatsApp numbers. You can reach out to us on that. The first and the second number. We are happy to inform you that we can supply you quality day old chicks and without compromise. So that's the goal. The goal is to help poultry farmers succeed. That's why we started all these things, and I believe supplying you with day old chicks. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of my clients, a lot of my followers were the ones that pushed me to start this day old chick supply business. Because they would complain that, okay, after teaching us how to raise birds and we cannot even get quality chicks, or a lot of vendors will play us here and there, will ask for this, they give us this, and we don't even know when it is right. So I was like, okay, let's try to take this new challenge. So we can't be doing that and then giving you fake or poor quality chicks. As much as possible, we give you exactly what we bring out from the hatchery. That's that you can rely on us for. We bring you exactly what we get from the hatchery. We don't give you A when you have ordered for B. We give you exactly what you order for, and we also give you advice. We advise you when you want to book. You can ask us, "Oh, is this thing performing well now?" And we'll tell you what to do. So that's for the chicks booking and supply. And it will do you a lot good if you subscribe to the channel if you're yet to do so. Thank you all for joining, and I'll see you in the next one. All right. Have a nice rest, and bye bye.